Hello, my name is Peter Schultz, and I am a principal planner with the Arlington County Department of Community Planning, Housing, and Development. I am the lead planner assigned to the site plan for the Wells Fargo and Verizon sites located in Clarendon on the south side of Washington Boulevard. This video is the staff presentation for the first SPRC meeting at 7 p.m. Monday, February 27, 2023 at the Bosman Center. It will summarize the process to date and contain staff comments on architecture and building form, the subject of the SPRC discussion that night. To find out more about this project and view the site plan drawings and other application materials, go to the URL at the bottom of the screen. The evening's agenda will include a welcome and a discussion of the SPRC of building form and architecture, and that will include the discussion of the proposed drive-through ATM use and other ground floor uses on the site. Wrap-up comments from the SPRC members, a slide on process and next steps, and then there will be time for public comment. For more detailed background on this site, see the YouTube link below. On the project webpage, you can find a more detailed description of the site, location, and background. But to familiarize yourself briefly, this is 3140 Washington Boulevard, consisting of two sites, the Wells Fargo site and the Verizon building in Clarendon. The existing use is a one-story bank and a four-story telephone switching station. The general land use plan currently divides the site between medium-density mixed use and government and community facilities. This slide is an overview of the major applications submitted for public review by the applicant. We are currently discussing the new site plan and use permit for the drive-through ATM. Here is an overview of the applicant's proposal for the Wells Fargo site, a mixed-use building that has 238 dwelling units, 2 floors of office space, and a large ground floor retail space, including a new Wells Fargo bank. There is a proposed drive-through ATM use associated with the bank. It is 12 stories and 128 feet. The Verizon building will be preserved. It adds a new public street to the rear, 10th Road North, and the applicant is requesting numerous modifications to make this development possible, including additional density that will add up to about 3.8 FAR over the entire site. We are using as our site guidance the Clarendon Sector Plan update as adopted by the County Board in April 2022. Many of the aspects of the sector plan have actually been codified in the Arlington County Zoning Ordinance in Section 9.2. So many of the recommendations of the sector plan are not just recommendations of the sector plan, they are requirements of the zoning ordinance, which occasionally the applicant will propose to modify. The first part of the public review process has concluded. It was an online engagement period between January 9th and 20th, 2023, with 38 unique commenters. Almost all of the commenters were negative about the presence of the drive-through ATM. Most commenters felt the bank was an acceptable use adjacent to the public open space if the design of the bank could be improved. There were no strong feelings for or against architecture above the ground level. Commenters, though, wanted an active ground level and interested in clarifying if retail could be accessed by the new 10th Road. And almost universally, all commenters wanted to see more landscaping and green space. As a review of staff's issues, and not limited to the items listed below, include staff strongly still discourages the drive-through and that the applicant should consider alternatives, improvement of the streetscape on 10th Road South, screening of the 1970s addition to the Verizon building, and landscaping and streetscaping in general were concerns from the county staff, including compliance with the zoning ordinance requirements. Tonight's topic is about building form and architecture, but we'll also be discussing the ground floor uses. The Clarendon Sector Plan has broad goals to provide a quality public realm, accessible and connected places, and a rich mix of uses. and we will be evaluating this project in light of advancing these goals. Clarendon therefore has form regulations to help implement those goals of the sector plan. The form regulations include, and they're also codified in the zoning ordinance, required tapers and step backs, height limits that block by block to provide a variety of heights in Clarendon, required build-to lines, urban design requirements like building entrances required every 50 feet, transparency requirements, and service requirements will be kept to the new 10th Road. This is the site, the Wells Fargo block, slated for redevelopment below Washington Boulevard and Hudson and Irving Street on the west, and a new segment of 10th Road on the south. The building form guidance in the sector plan requires a maximum height of up to 128 feet in exchange for community benefits. One taper or step back is required on the west side facing the Irving Street Plaza. That's a minimum 10-foot taper that should be on the second through fifth floors, one of the floors, a second to fifth. This site is designated a Main Street site on 3 sides. That prescribes the ground level building form. Building entrances should be every 50 linear feet approximately. There should be a minimum 75% facade transparency on these sites. The 10th Road North frontage, however, is designated for alley and service uses. So there are no transparency requirements or doorway requirements, although the developer will be providing some on that side, as you will see in their presentation. Here are 2 facades, the Washington Boulevard North facade and Washington and Irving Northeastern facade. Hudson Street and 10th Road South. The large blank wall is the 1-story 1970s Verizon edition that staff would like the developer and Verizon to commonly address. I spoke about the regulations before that are codified in the zoning ordinance of urban design factors. The developers generally meets those guidelines and regulations for the build-to line, the height, and the step backs. Staff has encouraged the developer to work on compliance with the sector plan and zoning ordinance requirements for ground level fenestration and building entrances, especially on the bank side on Irving Street facing a proposed public plaza. Staff encourages the developer to think of simple architectural treatment to the Verizon building to the south. The developer has made some revisions to the plan since the online engagement, and those include, and you will see in their presentation, they have shifted the drive-through to the east and added additional entrance doors to the building, including along Irving Street and 10th Road. In the new facade proposed on the right side of the screen, the developer has added a door to the Irving Street side of the bank. Remember, this is the side that is going to face a new public open space. However, the developer has not been able to, it seems, address the 75% wall transparency goal for that Main Street frontage side of the building. The developer proposes screening and acoustical baffles to hide rooftop generators on the 1970s addition to the Verizon building, and Verizon will propose additional similar screening of mechanical equipment as needs arise in the future. Again, here's a slide showing the proposed screening features on Verizon. There are numerous utilities in Irving Street that may prevent new planting on that side of the Verizon building. However, staff would still like the developer and Verizon to make some architectural alterations to the ground floor in order to improve the windowless appearance of the building. The top level is the Irving Street side, the below level is the addition from Hudson Street. The developer's previous proposal placed their proposed ATM closer to the Irving Street Plaza here, a public plaza which will be developed by the county, and no street trees on the north side of 10th Street. That does not follow the guidance of the sector plan nor the zoning ordinance. In the developer's latest revision, they have shifted the ATM drive-through a few feet to the east, also reducing somewhat a corner of the side of the building, and placed street trees on the north side of 10th Road. Again, staff strongly encourages Wells Fargo, who are the current owners of the site, and the developer to find an alternative to a drive-through that comes off of the street, perhaps with a walk-up window or an interior drive-through in a parking garage, perhaps. As far as public process goes, the online engagement, as stated earlier, went January 9th through 20th, 2023. This is the video for the SPRC meeting number 1, February 27th, 2023. There will be at least one more SPRC meeting, and public hearings and county board dates have yet to be determined. Thank you for listening to this presentation. I have been Peter Schultz of the Arlington County Planning Division.